for almost 2 decades now. It's been a very fruitful and a very fulfilling journey. But now I feel that I'm at a space in my life, I'm at a phase of my life where I want growth and diversity over other spheres and other industries as well. Home and living is an industry which is very close to my heart. And recently I found quite a few market gaps when we were doing up our home. And I felt that we don't really have a strong Indian brand which depicts Indian values rooted in Indianness and Indian culture, which is so big and vast and beautiful, still being very contemporary and keeping in mind the functionality of the products that we use and keeping in mind the sync and synergy across various categories. So I really wanted to come forward and create a brand which actually could fill this market gap. And that's how Kartika came into the picture. That's also how keeping the brand philosophy of Indian rootedness, culture, integrated with a lot of modernity, contemporariness, and keeping functionality as the main key point of this brand came about.
Yeah, so I think it's a very thoughtful idea, and since he said rooted in Indian, and I think as India is going global with the way the Prime Minister has positioned ourselves, I think we should take pride in presenting Indianness, and I think Kajal with her own design philosophy wants to bring Indian designs, the artisans bent of the take on the designs, our tradition, our cultural values, the spirituality in terms of essence, and it's not about doing one category, let's say bed or bath or furniture or cookware. It is doing across category. That's what her perspective is. She's not going to just do one product, but she wants to bring the home lifestyle aspect of it and taking elements which represent Indianness. So I think that's the broad idea. And knowing Kajal's thorough preparation, whether it comes to films or any other thing that she's doing, I think she has a very focused approach, and here we are going to share a business presentation to this audience, which will really showcase how prepared she is when she's launching a brand, and there is a lot of homework gone into it. So as we will have conversation, we will have some slides which will showcase what we intend to do and give you some visual depiction in terms of what we exactly mean. I will ask Gautam to give perspective in terms of how they have together, thought and what's the broader vision starting, because there is the ecosystem of modern retail in the home lifestyle space with very category specific retailers coming to the business, plus we have global brands who have come into the realm. There are two big global brands which have launched with stores which are larger than stadiums. So how do we really look forward to root ourselves while with all the international disruption also happening? So Gautam, we would want to understand your take.
So first of all, thank you AGH for this fabulous platform. I think that, if you look at all the top level companies that we have in this show today, and if you ask them, only a small percentage of the products that they had here is what their capability actually is. So actually speaking, a lot of these guys are also exporters. And so when you go internationally to trade shows or to stores overseas, you see a lot of our product in India being sold overseas. And a lot of us go abroad shopping and we see this product and we don't even know it's made in India. And then we say, oh, this is really great, we want to bring it back home. So I think that, as a demographic, the 25 to 40-year-old homeowner is becoming younger and younger. And there's much more demand for, for what you see on Instagram, what you see on TikTok, what you see globally. And we felt that bringing together everything onto one platform and partnering with these great manufacturers that we already have and these great brands that we already have in India would be such a great opportunity for us to actually be able to bring our thoughts, our philosophy, our understanding, our expertise, and really bring Indian design values, to the forefront and present that, in the market. And so again, partnering with AGH, partnering with great brands here, and really trying to create a difference in the market is something that we're really looking forward to doing.
So here we have this beautiful logo at the back. This is Katika, and the vision of the Katika, blended with Kajal, take on the home categories backed with the business expertise. And I think it's the most, I would say, credible integration one could foresee. So we'll run you through a few slides. We'll get on to the news. So every brand has a baseline, a tagline which we call in a generic way, which really depicts the essence of what the brand stands for. So the brand is personified brand representing Kajal's values, emotions and design vision. But the messaging is very strong. Embrace yourself, stay rooted. I think that's the beauty of what we intend to communicate, and that's what the brand stands for. So Kajal, what you would want to say a little more in terms of what does rooted means,
I think accepting yourself for what you are, and where you come from. Humble beginnings, beautiful journeys. I think all of that creates a sense of rootedness and a sense of belonging, which is extremely important, which is our brand philosophy. And adding that in every aspect of your life. In this situation, obviously, home and living would be the best primary example for this, where you probably have an Indian element in a very contemporary design. You have products which are very technologically forward, great materials for the same, great innovations for the same, yet the design would be Indian. So a marriage of this, a synchronization of this would mean embracing yourself and staying rooted.
That's a pretty, I think you're hearing from, herself, and I think there's no better explanation that, we can add to. Thanks for your insights. We'll move on to the next slide now. This is, giving, in terms of beyond her acting prowess, how she's now catapulted herself into being the boss woman as a business lady to really, come here and launch a brand. So we'll move on to the next slide from the introduction one. This, as in terms of, this is a very fast, small synopsis. She's done over 60 more plus films and a lot more coming. But this is the one I think we could capture on the slide. So digital media has become a great tool for fans to engage, and and Kajal has been pretty much sharing her life through digital media. So what's been the experience since we're discussing digital engagement, which will really help us to engage us with the brand that we are intending to build. But so far, Kajal, if you want to share your experiences, how do you feel, really interacting with the fans live, where there is really a no filter zone, I would say.
No filter would be very true and very on point, Vishal. I think digital media comes with its pros and cons. I want to emphasize on the pros right now, since we are discussing this. It gives me a platform to just be my true, authentic, most organic self, post my literally daily affairs, my living, so that my fans and my audience can get a glimpse of how I live my life, what I am behind the scenes, what I am behind camera, and just to keep it very real and authentic.
Okay, so that's, I think, I would say digital, personally for me, when I look at, I feel it's a lot of responsibility, and the way the troll gangs also sometimes target, I think regular people can't handle it.
Also, we are influencing so many young minds.
Yes.
So that's where the responsibility picture comes in, where you want to make sure that you give out the right message and you don't influence people in a way which might harm them or affect them in a negative manner.
And I think we have seen on social media, she's been sharing her progression in life, right after her marriage, being a mother, I think different perspectives, and we are aware in terms of, how she's progressing. And I think it's a great medium, and we're going to really engage our fans, which will really embrace what we are intending to launch soon and share our design ideas, the entire journey for the home and living business that we're going to build. So you're going to see a lot of design ideas, product curation, work in progress on her social media. Next. So as Kajal explained, Katika stands for embracing yourself. I think this is a little brief on what we intend to create. We are on a mission to create a harmonious blend of tradition and modernity. And this is going to, we can go to the next slide. This is something she's already shared. So the brand Katika, is capturing certain essence which really depicts herself, which is rooted, exuberant, free-spirited, beautiful. That's the brand personality. We're targeting consumers in the age segment of 25 to 40 years. Our positioning is going to be targeting, like in a film language, I would say we look at single screen audiences and multiplex. But I think we have come in the middle so that both of us can really experience what we are about to bring. So because it's important to find a mid-brand, and since we are India-centric, we have to have price positioning also, which is India-centric. So this will be positioned as a lifestyle brand, and which offers home solutions across categories. So whether it's, so let's say if you take a certain theme and design idea that will have the color palette, so you can do your room, you don't have to go to 10 other places to really figure things out. So somewhere on the entire journey since you're doing home, what is that you have been through, and what is that you feel is a problem area that you want to bring a solution to with what you're intending to build now?
Interesting that you said that, because literally while we were doing our home, we went from across various brands, across various categories, scouting for things, trying to put it together, trying to make sure that the entire visual looks synergistical, and trying to make it all come together beautifully. And that's where we found difficulty, because there wasn't any one platform that would suggest superior products at the right kind of value, still would give us the best design options, would give us beautiful aesthetics, and would give functionality. So I think that's the primary gap that we're trying to fill, and that's what we're trying to achieve through Katika.
Okay, so in terms of the brand personality, we just have this slide on the back, and what we intend to build is, I've seen the way the endorsement business works. Sometimes when you look at an imagery of someone who's there, and when you see a product, you feel disconnected sometimes. And I think what we're doing here, that's why is we particularly didn't go the endorsement route, because we wanted to bring value not in terms of just pushing a brand or a product, but really contributing in terms of making a product which is an authentic representation of a design idea, and also it really fulfills and brings the Indian lost culture, heritage, design, because of so much of movement to the West. And Kajal's brief has been to make it as contemporary in design expression as it could be, because while we are doing so, we don't want to be seen as a very, a brand which is not in sync with the trends of today's time. So there again, it's rooted yet progressive. Again, the brand messaging is integrated in the product philosophy. And Kajal, I would want to ask you to elaborate on the design philosophy, but from the trends in design, what's going on international, I would want to hear from Gautam also. Gautam, if you can tell us what's the international scenario, because global cues are important while we are rooting business here, because we are not just building it for the India, that we are, as in the territory that we are targeting. We are looking at the Indian diaspora living wherever in the world. So
I think, Vishal, that internationally responsible consumption is becoming very important. So ethical sourcing, reducing waste, things like that are becoming very, very important. Conscious living is becoming more important, and we are seeing a lot of that coming into India, because traditionally that's how Indians used to live. But now, because life has changed so much, I think that we're living in a very high stress, high anxiety kind of, high paced environment, where we really need to understand and go back to our roots. And that's where our brand really, comes into the picture, I think at the right time. And that's why, like you said, instead of going the endorsement route, we were very keen to pick the right partners to work with, to bring the right products into the market. And that's why, again, GH is a great platform to be at, to find the right partners.
So we will look at the brand aesthetics, So in terms of design expression, this slides gives you, it's very, India-centric. And I think, so I'll take you a little, outside the topic that we're discussing. When we look at fashion, what's happening in the fashion business, there has been an advent of international brands which have really put in pressure. And there are beautiful brands which have really hold on to the Indian values. I won't name the brands, but when you look at marriages, functions, ethnic wear as a category. And I think what we're trying to do is, we're trying to do the contemporary ethnic wear in the home lifestyle categories. That's what we're doing. You can move on to the next. Yeah, so these are certain design expressions of the conceptual vision of what we intend to build. Go to the next one. So Kajal, you'd want to comment in terms of the design preferences. We have a slide on the back, which, so in terms of pottery, in terms of...
So I have been a huge admirer of artisanal work, Indian artisans, the kind of rich heritage that we have, the kind of work that we do in terms of pottery, in terms of the colors, the dyes, the palette that we live in, which is so vibrant and beautiful, and there are so many hues and shades. The kind of materials that I used, the kind of intricate designs and Indian motifs that we have and that we belong to, and we've seen all through our lives while growing up. I feel it's high time we bring this aesthetic into home, into living, and create a design philosophy which is very proud of the fact that we have such a massive heritage and we come from such a rich history and such rich culture.
So also because of urbanization, the way I think the homes have also evolved, somewhere, I think there have been generations which have stayed away from the village or the place that they have come. So I think that entire connection of the current generation, going back there, and that's what we intend to build, taking us back to our roots.
Also in terms of materials, like Gautam just said, we are all gravitating towards materials which keep away allergens, which keep away carcinogens, which actually facilitate a healthier life, which basically bring us back to our roots. And that's how our ancestors have lived their lives. And it's time that we go back, which we are already doing. We can see that this current generation is already gravitating towards things like that. So we're just trying to present all of that with a beautiful design aesthetic.
So if you look at the trends globally, the trend is going to organic, let's say in food. So, typically food was organic, then chemicals were added, now we are going back to it. And I think looking at the way the world is really trying to value what was there, and in the garb of modernization, whatever we have left behind, I think it's an attempt to really do that. So Gautam, since you were talking about the way we contribute to society and the impact of what we make and sell, because see, what we sell is, you're seeing it in a very modern retail environment, but what goes behind, the entire treatment to the workers, their health and safety, compliances, the way it's impacting environment. You'd like to share your perspective on ethical sourcing and sustainability?
So I think that, to move towards 100% sustainability, green practices, in the industrial way that we produce products today, as against maybe 100 years ago where everything was really handmade, there were, indigo dyes, vegetable dyes, there were things which were not chemical based. It's very difficult to actually go 100% towards that. But I think that a lot of companies and a lot of global standards have been put into place now that basically help us to get there, to have a path to get to that point. And again, I think a lot of Indian companies, who, actually sell overseas are actually working towards those standards. And that's another kind of, place where we find synergy with those kind of companies, where we try to move towards a path where we are as sustainable as possible, as green as possible, as conscious as possible, because that's the only way forward, really, And I think that, globally, everywhere in the world you go to, be it in food, be it in fashion, be it in home, you're going to see that happening.
I think sustainability is a global, I would say on the global agenda, and we will, as a brand, attempt to really achieve that goal. It's a very difficult goal to achieve being a beginner brand because it takes your cost up and everything else. But our intent is, to do something which is, eco-friendly. That's us step one to move to with other Katika brand licensing program. So this gives you some perspective in terms of the design aesthetic, how the Katika homes is going to blend in the design seamlessly through tradition and blend it with modernity.
So I'd like to add a small little personal anecdote here. Through my entire film career, I have traveled extensively, all through the world, extensively through our country, small villages, tiny little cities, tier 2, tier 3, stayed in places like this, explored places like this, and for massive chunks of time, like for a month at a stretch, I've been in a small town and actually explored the architecture of that town, understood what their temples are made of, what their culture is all about. And I feel it's time now to show the rest of the world how beautiful all these elements are. If you see in this particular slide, the wooden ceiling, that's a typical Tamil Nadu thing from Karaikudi, for example, which is a small town which focuses on having beautiful wooden work as a part of their home and as a part of their living. So things like that would actually mean embracing yourself and staying rooted.
I think that's a great insight, and I think implication of our let's say it's this wooden work to maybe do doors with this design. So I think there is no such limit in terms of where you can adapt our creative heritage, and whether it could be surfaces of tiles maybe. So there is a lot of synergy that one can. We always look what's in the western part of the world, but we have enough that we can discover and keep bringing out in our own way of or the own design ideas.
I think it's best to first seek inspiration from our own country. We have a lot going on here.
Yeah, so to thrive on Make in India, I think that's what the nation is working on. So when we do homes, I think the vibe in the homes somewhere captures an element of spirituality. Would you want to elaborate while you were doing your home? How did you kind of?
I think, a lot of people kind of the first thing they do is they get a Vastu consultant, and they try to change everything in their home. That's something that we stayed away from. But definitely we wanted to have a very nice place where we have, a space for our mandir and a space for spirituality, because that I think brings the right vibes, the right peace, the right energy into any home, and that's very, very important, in Indian homes. So I think that, in terms of our brand itself, spiritual decor as a category is huge in India, and that's something that we are actually really looking forward to exploring.
Great. So I think rooted yet progressive, I would just say this. But great insight. I think everyone, when we, I think it's with everybody when you are doing your house, your spirituality, the kind of beliefs you have, you need to really express it. So as a consumer, when I look at the journey of the urban consumer, you might, like say, the rainy season, drive into a mall, but where do you get to buy, let's say, a temple? Or the temple that you need to build, or maybe things that you need to put it across. So I think from a retail perspective, there are very few malls who have an offering also, and with our brand, we would really touch on to these smaller aspects. It's not about what kind of volume we are doing, but it is all about what is the spirituality that we want to imbibe and inspire her fans to really come and buy and be spiritual also. I think because somewhere you need to look inside instead of going outside, and that's the philosophy of the brand that Kajal has built. You want to elaborate on that?
I think you've covered it very well. Along with spirituality, I believe that all of us, Indian families, we like celebrating our festivals. We like doing our pujas. It gives us that sense of peace, that sense of stability and security. And I think that's where the idea of spiritual decor truly originated. I love having people home for Diwali, for example. I love having people over for Holi or maybe a Raksha Bandhan. And be it anything, I like celebrating these things with my family, with my friends, with everyone that I love. And I think that applies to everybody across age groups. And that's something that we want to teach and imbibe in our children as well. And there isn't really a particular brand which caters to needs like this. So that's where Katika fills the gap.
Okay, we would really want to speed up the conversation because I think you guys are also brimming with questions. But before we get into the Q&A, here at the exhibition we saw World of Sleep, and a lot of talk is there around the sleep, which is about the mattresses and how it really takes care of your body contours, or how do you get deep sleep, whether it's the aroma in the house or there are various elements, because as per the research we saw that's come through is we just get 2 hours of deep sleep. So in terms of Katika will have a sleep solution product line also. So what's your idea? You can share personally, what's your idea of sleep?
So the quote unquote beauty sleep is truly very important. And like you said, the ergonomics of the mattress, other aspects like ensuring that the quality of air around you is superior, is clean, you're sleeping in a clean environment, you have antibacterial, sheets and pillow covers, you have anti-allergens around you. All of these aspects, I feel, ensures that you have a deeper, sounder sleep, and you can sustain that state for a longer time. So this is one aspect that I am personally extremely excited about because I value and cherish my few hours of sleep quite a lot. And I know the importance of sleep in our day-to-day life. I can't function without my sleep. So this is one aspect of Katika which I'm very excited to collaborate on.
So Katika would bring home aromas which will give you some, which will elevate your deep sleep in a way. We will also have mattresses with different soft, antibacterial treatment. Also, there is a AI play which is coming in sleep. We'll see how we can integrate that. And there is, air purifiers, or there are multiple elements to it. So that will be one of our focus areas also. So we are looking at partners in that category. We'll quickly just show you 2-3 slides of our mood board so you understand the design expression. And then we will get on to the question and answer. And this is just a category representation of what she intends to envisage and build. These are certain references, but we will have our own curated designs when we launch. So furnishings and mattresses as a category. Next. Next. So just to put it together, I just want to summarize. The idea is not to do one product line. The idea is to do entire home solutions, whether it's looking at the sleep solutions or furnishings, or even doing your bathroom accessories or the bathroom mats, and bring out definitely having a utilitarian value but also aesthetics, and something I want to understand in terms of the cookware, because food is something which says love edible is called food, you know. And you want to add something there?
So I think this is one topic which all women get very touchy about, especially me. I feel it's extremely important to focus on the way I keep my kitchen. Be it organizing my dry ration, be it storing my wet goods, how I organize my refrigerator, the kind of utensils that I cook in. I try to stay away from using plastic. All these things are extremely important, especially after there's a baby in the picture. And just to ensure that you and your family live a healthier life, using the right kind of technology, the right kind of products in your everyday cooking, and presenting the edible love in your day-to-day life.
So we'll now do a Q&A, and we have a mic there, and having understood it, I think we've done quite a detailed explanation of what we are intending to build. And the brand licensing program is what we're here for. So we would firstly want to take questions if you want to, ask Kajal on what the brand licensing program is. And any questions? People can raise hands. We have the mic. We can float.
Hello.
Hi.
Ma'am, as you have talked about Make in India and your products are also representing Indian culture. So my question is like how many percent of things you are manufacturing in India and how many percent it's get from China? Because as we all know, China is taking our market like day by day and they have a huge volume of import from China. So that's my question, ma'am. Like how much percent you are manufacturing in India? Thank you.
So I'm going to let my partner Vishal from Swag Fashions take this question, but just a little brief that I'd like to say is that this is a brand licensing program and I'm looking to collaborate with manufacturers from India, and hence I'm launching it at HDH, which of course has the pioneers of all the manufacturers from across the country, from world over, but I'm very keen on making sure that each and every product is of very superior standard, of superior quality, and making sure that it has a strong stamp of Made in India.
So I would like Gautam to also elaborate.
So I think that, that like you said, that a lot of products definitely are made in China, today. But I think that, that there's a lot that can be done in our own country. So at least 60-70% at least, something that we would look at to start with and made in India.
Yeah. Hello, Kajal. Kavya from Entrepreneur here. Just wanted to understand from you, while we see there is a vast variety of imagery when it comes to the designs, and you yourself have worked in multiple languages when it comes to films, so you have an experience of a variety of cultures. I wanted to understand who is the team you're entrusting to bring these designs to life?
Hi Kavya. So we are doing this in partnership with Swag Fashions. They are market leaders when it comes to creating brands, creating superior aesthetics, and creating value-added products. Of course, we are looking at tying up and collaborating and partnering with manufacturers of the same standard. And of course, I will be personally overlooking the products to ensure that, like I said, they are rooted as well as they're extremely contemporary.
Are there any names in the works currently for any designs or particular?
We'll let you know on that very soon.
All right, thank you.
Hello. Hi,
Hi.
Kajal ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, Gautam sir. My name is Aishan from Bazooka Media. Ma'am, आपसे जानना चाहूँ जिस तरीके से बात हो रही थी यहाँ पर पूरा प्रोग्राम में जब अटेंड कर रहा था कि मैम किसी ने खूब कहा है कि घर ईंटों से नहीं इंसानों से और परिवारों से बनता है, तो मैं आप दोनों से जानना चाहूँगा आपके घर में ऐसे कौन से शख्स है, वो कौन है जो आपके घर में हमेशा खुशियाँ रखता है और वो बताता है कि ये घर इंसानों से ही बनता है?
ये सवाल बहुत ही प्यारा सवाल है और ऑब्वियसली ये मेरा छोटा बेबी, मेरा बेटा नील, डेफिनेटली नील है जो घर में खुशियाँ हमेशा खुशियाँ रखता है, हमारे चेहरे पे मुस्कुराहट लाता है। हमें जितनी भी थकावट हो या जो भी टेंशन या प्रॉब्लम्स हो हमारी ज़िंदगी में, नील को देख के वो सब एक सेकंड में मिट जाती हैं।
गौतम सर, आपकी मुस्कुराहट भी बहुत कुछ कह रही थी, अगर आप शब्दों में बताएंगे तो अच्छा लगेगा.
I think the same thing that Kajal was saying just now. The first time we moved into a new home, I think Neil went running through the whole home and he was so happy. He went straight to the balcony, he went to his room, so I think it is definitely him.
तो नील के लिए सर घर पे कुछ स्पेशल बनाया आप लोगों ने?
सॉरी,
नील के लिए कुछ स्पेशल घर पे कोई जगह बनाई, कुछ स्पेशल उसके
नील को झूला झूलना बहुत पसंद है, तो हमने उसके कमरे में एक झूला लगाया है अब तक.
ग्रेट, थैंक यू सो मच मैम, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू.
So just to answer, something relatable. So Kajal is soon going to be coming up with a kids collection also, because from a mother's perspective, bringing that learning, because she's experienced global products and Indian. So there is a product line which will be soon coming in. So just to add.
Also, it's a sphere which is very close to my heart.
काजल जी, आपने बताया कि कटिका मीन्स आँखें. हम सभी जानते हैं कि आपकी आंखें बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल हैं, लेकिन अकॉर्डिंग टू यू इंडस्ट्री में जितने भी फीमेल एक्टर हैं जो आपकी दोस्त भी हैं, तो आपको ऐसा कौन वो लगता है कि उनकी आंखें बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल हैं, आपको ऐसा लगता है?
फर्स्टली थैंक यू इतने प्यारे कॉम्प्लीमेंट के लिए. आई थिंक एक ऐसे बंदे का नाम लेना बहुत मुश्किल होगा. मेरे कंटेम्प्रेरीज, मेरी सीनियर्स, सबकी आंखें बहुत ही खूबसूरत हैं और इसलिए वो इस मुकाम पे पहुंची हैं अपनी लाइफ्स में. मैं जिसकी फ़ैन हूँ, आई थिंक वो होंगी श्रीदेवी मैम. उनकी आंखों की मैं बहुत बड़ी फ़ैन हूँ.
थैंक यू.
हेलो काजल मैम. गौतम सर, मैम फर्स्ट तो आपने जो आपका ब्रांड नेम रखा है वो बहुत बहुत खूबसूरत है, आपकी आइज़ की जैसे इन्होंने कहा, तो उसके लिए थैंक्स आपको. मैम आपने जो आपका ये कैटेगरी जो ब्लूप्रिंट है आपका, मैम बहुत बड़ा बास्केट है आपका ये वाला, तो ये मटेरियल या जो भी ये प्रोडक्ट है, मतलब आप कब तक अज्यूम कर रहे हैं कि मार्केट के अंदर अवेलेबल होने के लिए, कि कब तक ये अवेलेबल हो जाएगा मार्केट में?
हम चाहते हैं कि ये अगले साल तक फुल फ्लेज्ड अवेलेबल हो. अब हमने अपना लाइसेंसिंग प्रोग्राम शुरू किया है, तो ऑफ कोर्स थोड़ा टाइम तो लगेगा सब अप्रूवल्स और प्रोडक्ट टेस्टिंग, क्वालिटी टेस्टिंग वगैरह करने में. हम चाहते हैं कि जो भी मार्केट में जाए सुपीरियर क्वालिटी का हो और उसमें कोई कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ ना हो. तो आई एम अज्यूमिंग एक साल.
और वैसे भी मैम किसी ने कहा है कि सोचो तो बहुत बड़ा सोचो, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि इंडिया के अंदर इतना सारे बास्केट के साथ कोई अभी कंपनी या कोई भी इतना डील कर रहा होगा. सब एक छोटा सा जैसे होम एंड लिविंग के अंदर कर रहा होगा, कोई क्रोकरी में कर रहा होगा, पर आपने तो सबको एक ही बास्केट में लेकर के आप कर रहे हो. तो मैम बिग चैलेंजेस तो आपके सामने आएंगे भी, तो कैसे किस तरह से उसको हैंडल वगैरह करने का आपका?
ग्रेट क्वेश्चन. आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा, चैलेंजेस डेफिनेटली आएंगे. ये बस शुरुआत है. लेकिन इस चीज़ के लिए थैंकफुली मेरे पास बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग पार्टनर्स हैं स्वैग फैशंस में, जिनके पास एक्सपीरियंस है ऐसे करने का और काफ़ी सालों का एक्सपीरियंस है उन्हें. ऑल्सो like you said, it's not really about the challenges. सपने देखना और बड़ा ड्रीम करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, स्पेशली मेरे लिए.
मैम एक मेरा लास्ट क्वेश्चन है, आपको ऐसा नहीं लगता कि आपका एक प्रोफेशनल लाइफ, एक अपनी फिल्म इंडस्ट्रीज वाली एक अलग है, ये एकदम डिफरेंट है, तो दोनों को मैनेज करना एक बिग चैलेंज, एक बिग इशू रहेगा?
ऑफ कोर्स चैलेंजिंग होगा, लेकिन थैंकफुली मेरे हस्बैंड को इस इंडस्ट्री में बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है, बहुत सालों का एक्सपीरियंस है. हमारा फैमिली बिजनेस भी इसी इंडस्ट्री से है. इनफैक्ट मेरे फादर का बिजनेस भी टेक्सटाइल्स का ही है. तो मैं भी पली बड़ी इसी इन्वायरमेंट में हुई हूँ और ये मेरा सपना रहा है जब से मैं छोटी बच्ची थी. और ऑफ कोर्स फिल्म्स मेरा प्राइमरी प्रोफेशन है. फिल्म्स मेरा पहला प्यार है जो मैं कभी छोड़ने नहीं वाली. लेकिन आई थिंक अपना टाइम डिवाइड करके एक स्ट्रॉन्ग सपोर्ट और एक स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम के साथ आगे बढ़ना ही सही रास्ता है.
मैम हमारी विशेष है आप बहुत आगे बढ़े.
थैंक यू सो मच.
हेलो मैडम, जनसत्ता रिपोर्ट रूपसेन उमरानी. आपने जो आंखों को जो काजल की ज़रूरत है, इस नैरेटिव से आपने एक कटिका का नाम रखा है. अभी आपने स्वाग साथ के ब्रांड ला रहे, और ये जो B2 बिजनेस है, क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे सबको?
मैसेज तो यही है कि